I'm Kevin Davis. This is the Catholic Family Podcast, and it's lovely to be with you all here today, and lovely to be here with Mauro Stenico, who is joining me at the same time. It's amazing. I rarely talk with anyone in the same time zone as me, so we're both here talking on a Saturday evening and saying how sometimes it's a little hard to get by on a Saturday evening, but we're making it work, and part of it is because we've had a hard time to get this scheduled. We're both busy guys. Mauro especially is always running around doing stuff. So it's been a hard time to get this scheduled. We had the first episode way back in, I don't know, October or November.
Yeah,
Very
November.
fascinating. November, yeah, but really a great show. It's something I really enjoyed, the Catholic perspective on science. And at the time, of course, we wanted to continue with episode 2. And here we are. Now it's okay. It's February, but it's all right. It's better late than never. And we're going to talk about the kind of episode 2, so the Catholic perspective on nature. And Mauro is going to kind of guide us through and kind of give us. I've read a bit of his outline, and it's really good. This is really interesting. One of the topics that I really enjoy talks a little bit about evolution, and it'll delve into how can we reason to the fact that we have a creator, etc. So Mauro, I guess the question I guess we should start with, or the point we should start with, is what did we talk about last time, I guess, in general.
Yeah, we may do truth. First of all, hi Kevin, and hello everyone. It's a very pleasure to be here. I really thank you for that, Kevin. Thank you. So let's introduce some key concepts from the previous episode. I have 3 or 4 points which are very important for our next discussion. So first of all, we discussed about the nature of science. What is science? If you remember, Kevin, we gave the Thomistic definition of science, Aristotelian Thomistic, which is the cognitia certa rerum per causas, which is knowing something, knowing a thing through its causes. So, but we also said that the object of a science is not necessarily empirical. For example, even mathematics is a science, and even theology is a science. Then we talked about the contradiction, the opposition, better, between realism and idealism. So realism is the Thomistic view, the philosophical doctrine, the philosophical position for which the object imposes itself on the subject, which is the object, the world, nature, men and women and so on, are not a creation of a mind, are not a projection of a mind. Ethics, it's not a projection of our mind. So we have to do with that object which is independent from me. And then there is idealism. Idealism is the philosophical position which states that the object is a creation, a projection of a mind. So, for example, this has also consequences on ethics because you can say, for example, that sexes are a creation, are a projection of a mind. So the gender theory, transgenderism, and so on. And this is very dangerous from a Catholic perspective, very, very dangerous. And then we talked about physics and metaphysics. Some realities we said are irreducible to formulas or matter. For example, the beauty of a mountain, the sweetness of a melody. So there are realities which go beyond the empirical dimension. For example, even the discussion about the soul, God, the proof for the existence of God, and so on. And then we said, last point, that there are 2 philosophical approaches to the scientific investigation of nature, which I call the absolutistic one and the open approach. The absolutistic approach is the position in which matter is everything. Everything does come from matter, is an evolution from matter, a blind process of evolution. So even man, even animal, plants, and so on. And then there is the open approach, which at least says that there can be something which goes beyond nature, which goes beyond matter. And this has to do, for example, with the theory of intelligent design. These were the principal key concepts from the previous episode.
Interesting. And I guess it's always going to be the question is how much does this matter, I suppose, and how important is this for us? And I think that first of all, it's good to ponder, and I think it's good to question, you know, what God gave us, right? I think that's why I think you and I would agree that's why God gave us so much wonder, in the beauty of the mountains and then
Yeah,
the greatness of the universe. That's why
yeah.
it's there for us to ponder God's greatness, right? And I guess, I mean, is I guess the question is it, can a Catholic take it too far? Is it important? I mean, like, how important is it for a Catholic as opposed to understand science or to believe one thing or another?
This is a very good and fascinating question, because certainly science is not necessary for our salvation. Science is not necessary to save our soul. However, it can be a useful instrument, because every science God gave us is an instrument to reach God. The good science points, in fact, towards God. The good science. The universe, as you said, is a beautiful work of God. So we can find the traces of its wisdom in the world, and we can go from here towards God, using our mind, using our reason, using science as an instrument. This is very important. Science
Mhm.
is not an aim; it is an instrument for man, an instrument. If you read, for example, a very important epistle from Saint Paul, the epistle to the Romans 1:20, Saint Paul states, "For the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead. So they," and St. Paul means the men who don't believe, "they are without excuse." They have no excuse, because as Christians, we have the reason to go from here, from the world, beyond the world, reaching God. Of course, science, as we said, is not the ultimate aim of a Christian life, because our Lord says, if you see, for example, Luke 9:25, what good is it for someone to gain the whole world and yet lose or forfeit their very self? This is very important. Saying that God as the first place in our life doesn't mean that we Catholics are against science. It doesn't mean that. It's false. We are only looking for a correct hierarchy in our existence. So, first of all, God, and then the instruments to reach God. Always remembering that science, philosophy, theology, and so on are instruments to reach God, which is our ultimate faith, our ultimate aim as Christians.
Interesting. And so obviously in our world where so much of our science or our scientists or our education at least is telling us that that we come from apes and that there is we're
Yeah,
just it is all this random explosions and we just
yeah.
end up kind of as a total fluke almost. We ended up as we are just because of billions of years, and this is how we came to be. And I guess how do we where do we start with that? I guess, I mean, how do we come to the conclusion of a creator, I suppose?
Yeah, this is a very interesting point, which is also, uh, as to say, which is at the interest of the intelligent design theory. From our common experience, for example, we can see Stephen Meyer, Michael Behe, even James Tour. We know that wherever information is found, for example, in a software, in a book, in a radio signal, or even in a clock, which I find on the top of a mountain, it's generating cause. It's not the inert matter, but intelligence. There is
Hmm.
intelligence beyond every kind of information. So, talking about the intelligence behind the universe is thus not fideistic, because we as a Catholics are not fideistic people, but a rational conclusion based on the application of the principle of causality. Everything existing must have an adequate proportional cause. So if you find an intelligent effect, you also have to have an intelligent cause. So wherever I found information, it's generating cause should be an intelligence. Matter follows constant, universal, and precise laws, and this is also the problem of the fine-tuning, which is very popular today, which is very discussed nowadays. These precise laws of the universe regulate an almost unlimited multiplicity of phenomena and make the overall coordination of this great cosmic unity uniform and coherent. So the universe, also given its multiplicity of phenomena and so on, stars, galaxies, is coherent, it's uniform. Now, Kevin, if you reason that chance has no memory because everything coming from chance is not constant, because chance is not rational, it's not constant, it's not coherent, it's chaos, it's complete chaos. If everything proceeded only randomly, we wouldn't have an ordered universe, but a chaotic one. And therefore, if coherency, if uniformity were absent, we wouldn't have science, because you cannot have the science if everything is random. How can you study everything, a thing which is random? How can you give a theory about
Great point.
a complete disorder, a complete chaos? How is it possible? It's
Right,
not
because
possible.
exactly. So whatever we have now that our scientists have observed, if you're saying it's all random, it could change at any moment, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
whatever we
yeah,
have observed to this point, it could be completely different in the next. That's a
yeah,
great point. Yeah, that totally makes sense. Interesting.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because you can have science if you have a reality you study which is coherent, which is ordered. If not,
Right.
you don't have science.
Hmm.
Everything is changing, as you said, every morning, every moment. So you
Right.
cannot have, for example, a book text about cosmology, about astronomy, about biochemistry, about biology, and so on. But we can go even farther with our reasonment. Starting from its beginning, our universe was formed step by step by means of precise laws. Precise laws. The cosmos is then based on a very fine-tuned physical constants. So there are very fine-tuned physical constants which guide our universe. And should one of them be modified, if you modify one of them, just one, Kevin, just one, then the entire system would collapse. If
Hmm.
you change, for example, the value of the gravitational constant, everything cannot exist. The universe, as we know, at least, the universe has something order. The universe, its beginning and its order, need an adequate cause. So we can talk about the cosmological argument, which is also called, from the Arabic philosophy, I think, the Kalam cosmology, the Kalam argument, which is very popular today in the ID, intelligent design community. And its bases are philosophical ones, and they are very simple. There are 3 steps, 2 steps and a conclusion. First step, everything that has a beginning has a cause. Because if I, Mauro Stenico, have a beginning, I must have a cause. My parents, for example. That's right. If
Hmm.
everything, if you have a thing in nature which starts to exist, it must have a cause. If not, it's magic. It's magic or a miracle. But it cannot be everything a miracle. It's impossible. So first step, everything that has a beginning has a cause. Second step, the universe had a beginning, and we know that for sure, given the modern observation, redshift, and so on. Therefore, conclusion. So, 2 premises and a conclusion. The universe had a cause because universe had a beginning. So, the universe has to have a cause. Of course, Kevin, it's very normal to understand, to remind it. The theory of intelligent design is not proven with mathematical certainty, but rather with rational certainty,
Hmm.
because there are different levels of certainty. We do not have a mathematical certainty because it's not a mathematical theorem. If not, everyone would have a faith, but we know that faith is something we have as a gift from God, but we have also to work for it. But we have the rational certainty.
Interesting. And that's, I guess that's when you look into this even a little bit, you see that those who believe in no God, they believe that we formed from the Big Bang. Okay, so the Big Bang started with what? An atom. Okay, no, okay, there has to be something smaller, right? So would they go down, they always just build it smaller. From an atom it became, I forget the names of these things, but it ends up in string theory or whatever, kind of a silliness, because they're always trying to build it down. But as you say, just logically, it has to have had something there. You can't just say it existed. I mean, there's a great meme that always says, in the beginning there was nothing and it exploded, right? If you say that in the beginning there was nothing and nothing exploded, it's like, wait, yeah, right. So it can't happen. It had to have been caused by something that was before all time. And so I guess this brings you to God, right? It has to bring you to a creator, this logic.
I think, Kevin, that the point is that natural sciences do have a limit. They go until their limits, natural sciences, and then they should stop. We cannot, for example, call something in order to explain the existence of our universe, something like the multiverse theory, which is not proven. It's a pure speculation. I mean, I understand, I accept it. But if you present it as a pure speculation, I like it because it's fantasy science. It's fantasy scientific. I like it. It's very interesting. But you have to admit it's speculation. You have not to present such hypotheses as theories, because you cannot accept the idea that there is a primary cause. That's not correct from a philosophical point of view. So science is very important. Science go until as far as it can. For example, to the beginning of the universe, and then it has to stop, and there comes the philosopher, so metaphysics and so on. It's very important because nowadays we are we see philosophy and the science as something which is which is not which is not understood. Yeah, I know. It is not, there is not an harmony, you know. So you are a philosopher or a scientist, but you cannot be a scientist and as a philosopher. But we have to understand that the great scientists of the past were, first of all, scientists, but also great philosophers, because they used reason. And then not all it's normal, but many of them were believers, because many of them, thanks to their sciences and thanks to philosophy education, understood that everything need a cause. So I think the point is to understand that philosophy and science are diverse, are different levels, but they are not in opposition. That's not true.
It makes sense. And it seems today that, again, you have kind of this worship of just the science side, just that one side, and people just completely forget the philosophical side. And as you said, the science has a limit where eventually you have to say, well, we can't say, we cannot measure, we cannot see, so we have to come to a rational conclusion. Yeah, it makes sense.
Stop.
You hear me, Mauro?
Yeah. I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I'm here. So I think, Kevin, we can go to the next point if you want.
Yeah. So cosmology being the importance of how we guide our mind to God, then, right? I mean, it shows, again, how to rationalize it, but also through science.
Yeah. So cosmology addresses the question that philosophers, also to speak here about philosophy and cosmology, the question that philosophers have been discussing since always. And the main question is, did the universe have an absolute beginning, or has it existed since eternity, although perhaps in different forms or states? That is, do we believe that matter is self-sufficient or not? And this question is fundamental for our approach to world and life, because the possible questions are only two: yes or no. There is not, maybe, a baby, maybe, I don't know. Yes or no. What do you believe? What do you accept? If we answer yes, then matter is self-sufficient, then we conceive the world as an absolutely autonomous machine, and God is unnecessary. Everything, even life, is the product of a blind, unguided, random process. So our Father is chaos. Our Father is a random process.
Mm-hmm.
If we answer no, we agree that world and life are not autonomous. They possess a cause to which they are related for their beginning and for their conservation into existence. Because the primary cause is not only the cause of our beginning, but also of our conservation into existence. That's very, very important. I try to translate it in a simple way. God did not only create us, but he conserves. I don't know if in English you say conserve. I don't know. It made it possible that we continue to exist.
Mm-hmm. Preserve, maybe. Yep.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
preserve. Yeah, preserve.
Yeah.
Each single moment we do exist because God does want we to exist. It's very
Mm-hmm.
important, very important. And this is important for us as single man, and even for the universe, the entire universe. So Genesis, the book of Genesis, begins by proclaiming the contingency of the universe. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. In the beginning. So there was a beginning. The author is God. God created. Creation ex nihilo, from nothing. The ancient philosophers did not have this concept of creation ex nihilo. They talk about generation, formation, but not about creation. It's a Christian concept. The heavens and the earth. The heavens and the earth do mean the entire universe, using, of course, also secondary causes, because God does use secondary cause. These words denote an absolute and intrinsic dependence of the word on God. God created, and He freely created. It was not compulsory for God to create the
Mm.
universe. As, for example, the philosopher Spinoza said, no, absolutely not. We don't have here to do with imminationism as in the ancient philosophers. God created the world from nothing, and He freely created the world. It was a free choice. Got it? This gives a special value to the idea that we exist because it is a gift. It is a gift. So matter was created ex nihilo, and the universe didn't come out from an eternal pre-existing matter. And then, second point, the creation of matter. If you read Genesis, it's very, very beautiful here. And Genesis, of course, uses the language of a very simple language. The Genesis doesn't talk about quantum mechanics, relativity, and so on. Genesis uses a very simple way to explain things in cosmological field. The creation of the matter is then followed by God's shaping of the world. So God created the world, and God then shaped the world, giving, for example, the laws and so on. Today's physical cosmology provides the outlines of all this using in its own language. Natural science, for example, does not talk about creation because creation is a philosophical, metaphysical concept, not as an empirical one, because you cannot observe creation ex nihilo. It's impossible.
Interesting.
For
So then
example,
I guess. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
I give you another example. Observation, measurements, and so on cannot say, for example, when exactly the soul does separate from the body when we die. We don't know the precise moment. It's matter of theology, but even theology is not sure. Therefore, we have to avoid practices regarding the organs and so on.
Interesting. And so I guess the next step, I mean, what does the Catholic philosophy say? So, I mean, I guess St. Thomas Aquinas and so on about this ascending path from the world to God, from, I guess cause, an effect type of a thing. I mean, what is the philosophy behind that?
So if we read St. Thomas Aquinas, which is a very great master, I think it's the best philosopher of all history. And I invite you to read, I mean, not you, Kevin, but in general, of course,
Me too.
to read St. Thomas, because it's fantastic. It's superb here, really. Thomas explains that there are two possible ways to reach God with our mind: the propter quid way and the quia way. The propter quid way is not really valid one, because here St. Thomas it's very critic about this. It criticizes this argument because the propter quid way goes from the cause to its effect, and this is the a priori argument of Saint Anselm of Aosta. Saint Anselm of Aosta in its work, which is called Proslogion. What does St. Anselm say? God is the greatest ends, is the greatest ends, the most important, the most perfect ends. But the greatest ends does possess all perfections. If not, it wouldn't be the greatest ends. It is in fact far more perfect to exist in the concrete reality than are only in our mind as an idea. So since existence is a perfection, because if you exist only in my mind, but you don't have a concrete existence, you are not perfect. So given the fact that the existence in a concrete way is a perfection, God has to exist. If not, he wouldn't be the greatest, the most perfect ends in the world, in reality. So Aquinas criticized this argument because it moves unduly from the logical to the ontological level. Because Thomas it says, okay, if God exists, it is so. But first of all, you have to show, to demonstrate, to prove God's existence. So Thomas say it's very, very important to use our reason, because we have faith, but our faith is not fideistic. So we have even philosophical, rational arguments to go from here to God. And then, of course, there is the quia way. This of St. Anselm was the propter quid. And the other one is called by St. Thomas of Aquinas the quia, from the effect to its cause. And this is the traditional way within Catholic philosophy. I can prove God existence using my reason, moving from this world, its perfection, its harmony, its order. So a reality which is order, which is harmonious, which has many perfection, even limits, and which has overall, which has a beginning, must have a cause, an intelligent cause. So this is the traditional way. And this is repeated within the anti-modernist oath of Pope Pius X, which was abolished after Vatican II. Of course, of course,
Of course. Of
of
course.
course.
Yeah.
If we read this text, the first point does state, and first of all, I profess that God, the origin and end of all things, can be known with certainty by the natural light of reason from the created world. God can be known by the natural light of reason, the natural light of reason. We have this great instrument, which is not the aim, but which is an instrument from the created world, as St. Paul explains. That is, from the visible works of creation as a cause from its effect, and that, therefore, its existence can be also demonstrated. So, once again, faith is not fideism. Our reason is called upon to demonstrate the so-called preambula fidei, that is, those natural truths that serve as presupposition to faith and which are knowable by reason. An example: it is very hard to believe that God is one and triune if you are not even convinced that God exists.
Hmm.
So, first of all, you demonstrate God existence, and then there are the argumentations coming from faith. There is no contradiction between faith and reason, no contradiction, although the truths of faith exceed the powers of reason. In a 1933 interview by an American journalist, Georges Lemaitre, the Belgian father, cosmologist and even Catholic priest, which is the father of the modern cosmology, did say simply, the doctrine of the Trinity is much more abstruse than anything in relativity or quantum mechanics. But being necessary to salvation, the doctrine about Trinity is stated in the Bible. If the theory of relativity had been necessary to salvation, it would have been revealed to St. Paul or Moses.
Interesting. Huh. So he's saying that it is science and philosophy is important, but obviously the revealed word of God is
It's much more
more
mysterious
important tradition in the Bible.
because
Yeah.
you,
Interesting. Huh.
you know, Kevin,
Yeah.
I can understand, I mean not me, Mauro Stenico, but I as a man can understand relativity, general relativity, some points maybe of quantum mechanics. But if I look at Trinity as is a supernatural mystery. I
Mhm.
cannot comprehend it. It's impossible. It's a mystery. But it has been revealed because it's necessary for our salvation. That's the point.
Yeah, that is interesting. And it reminds me when I was a short time in the seminary in Omaha
Oh,
under Bishop Pevrunas, and short time, a couple months, and I remember though reading book about the Trinity, and it's very
yeah.
confusing and very thick and hard to understand anything. And it was kind of funny though, because at the end you study and you read and you get through it, and at the end it's kind of like, but it's a matter of
Yeah.
faith. You can't really understand it. It's like, wait, what am I just reading? So, but it is, and it is kind of that the fact again that
So
there's only so many things that can be measured. We also do, of
the
course, have to have that
incredible
faith.
point, Kevin, is that in the Bible you find something which is more difficult to understand than, for example, quantum mechanics. That's a great point, a very great point. That's is a real
Right.
mystery.
Yeah. Yeah, and so God cannot be expected to be the subject of experimental
Yeah.
verification, right? That's it. Yeah.
So here is the Isaiah's teaching about the Deus absconditus, God as an immeasurable wisdom, inscrutable will, to claim that for our faith we should find empirical traces of God in the world, using observation, using experiments, using technical instruments, would be like denying the transubstantiation, because with the microscope, the holy bread does always present the same appearance as before. It would mean you haven't understand anything about what transubstantiation is. Anything, absolutely nothing, absolutely nothing. So, nor can reason exhaust God, because we can know God, but not comprehend him. Comprehend is to fully understand a reality. We can have a certain knowledge of God, its attributes, and so on, but not a comprehension. It would be to exhaust, to have a complete and definitive knowledge about the reality of which I'm talking about. With God, that doesn't function. It is not possible. In a conference held in 1936, again Lemaitre highlights how God remains hidden in his actions. And Lemaitre says, everything that has been done by God, but nowhere has God substituted himself for his creator. Divine activity is everywhere essentially hidden. One will never give the possibility of reducing God to a scientific hypothesis, nor can we talk about the God of the gaps when we have some problems which we are not able to understand. But the final point is that a believing scientist does always know that the enigma universe, that the problem of the universe possesses a solution. This is a great advantage over the atheistic scientist. So, Catholic science knows that there is a rational project, a rational idea, a rational design behind the cosmos, behind the cell, behind our human body, and so on. While the atheistic one does not have this idea. So it is like, for example, like going on. I don't know, without a guide.
Yeah, I've always thought that it's a bigger leap, a harder leap to believe in no God. I mean, I just as you say, in terms of science, the steps you have to take is just all of these random events to have happened, even if you're giving it a billion years. And that's something that I know some of these modern scientists who are pro not creationism, but pro what do you call it? A guiding force, a God, pro God, I suppose, not atheists. They really say, they push the point that those who are atheistic are always making the time frame bigger. They're always saying, it used to be 1,000,000 years, and then it was 10 million years, and it was 100 million years. Now it's 1,000,000,000 years, because they're always having to expand the probabilities of where we've come to, right? As you've said, the perfect circumstance of our world, of our universe, which makes us be able to exist. And as you said, if one thing fails, we couldn't exist. We would have no universe, no world, no people. And I think it's a big leap in belief, a much bigger belief to be able to think that came from random chance than the belief that it came from God. And I think that's something that I think it's, for me, is easy to understand, but obviously not for everyone.
Yeah, because we discussed some minutes ago about the multiverse hypothesis. So, given the fact that you cannot accept the idea that the universe had a primary cause, you are obliged to call this theory. So our universe is one within billions of universe, an infinite number of universe, and so for change we are here because there is an infinite number of possibilities to exist. So if you have something which is infinite, you should have at least one time, I would say logically an infinite number of time, the existence of an intelligent life somewhere in this multiverse. So the point for what I can understand is not the last of the universe about 14 billion years, 13 billion years. That's not important because God it's eternal. So what is a number as like 14 billions of years with respect to eternity? It's nothing. It's nothing, absolutely nothing. But
Right.
I cannot accept the idea that since you are not since you are not going to accept the idea that there has to be at least a cause which goes beyond the universe, you are you feel compelled to call these theories multiverse. I repeat, if you treat this theory as a hypothesis, speculation, I can understand. I can talk with you, no problem. But not give this hypothesis as a theory which is scientifically validated and so on. It's not acceptable. That's the point. So, and just one point, Kevin, if I can, just one point: the interaction between cosmology and biology. I would like to remember always that the evolution of the universe has nothing to do with the evolution of the species, because if we have many proofs about the beginning of the universe from an empirical point of view in these terms of billions years, we don't have definite proofs absolutely about evolution of the species. We can talk about microevolution, but not macroevolutions. And this is another point, which is would be a subject matter for a next episode. I don't know, because it's very fascinating to talk about.
Sounds good to me. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and that's something I've always been interested in, and I have a friend here who we talk pretty frequently about micro and macro evolution, and that would be excuse me, that would be definitely something I'd be interested in. And as always, I appreciate you coming on. And I'll try to attach the link to our previous show, so anyone who didn't watch that before, you might want to watch that one first. But obviously, you're getting here to this point, so you've watched this one already. So go watch the first one. Make sure you watch both because they're very interesting. And I think again, it's a reasonable Catholic approach to how to view science, and I think that is extremely important in these times, that we take it reasonably, right? We ration our way, rationalize our way through these topics, and I think that Mauro has done a good job in helping us do that. So I thank you very much for that. I thank you for your time on this Saturday evening.
Kevin,
I'm sure you could have been doing other things. Yep.
Just one last point. If you want, on my YouTube channel, there are some videos which I did with this great scientist, which is Michael Denton, about intelligent design, about biology, biochemistry, which are in English. So because Michael Denton does not talk Italian, does not speak Italian, so we speak English, and I think they could be interesting.
Great.
Last time
I'll
we talked
attach that link as well. Yep.
About the cell, about water, about for example the light, the network of light, and so on.
Perfect. No, that's great. Yeah, we'll definitely attach that. What was the name of your YouTube channel again? I didn't bring that up.
So it is Scuola di Filosofia di Fornace. It's the name is Italian, of course, which means School of Philosophy of Fornace. Fornace is a little village in the north of Italy. Scuola.
I haven't been there yet. I have to visit sometime.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. I'm trying to find. I should have it. And sorry, everyone, for my internet connection too. I have to figure this out. I don't know what the deal is. All right. Yeah, let's see. I'll put this up on the screen. Everyone can go check this out. Got it. All right. I'll throw this up on the screen. Yep. And now you guys can see it. Go check this out. Maybe. Come on, computer. Okay, yeah, got it. Sorry guys for the connection. I'm working on the internet, but here it is. Go check that out, and I'll attach the link to the channel. So you guys, if you're interested, that sounds really interesting, and everyone, please go check it out. If you like this show, go check out the YouTube channel as well. Mauro, again, it was a pleasure. I would love to have you on again sometime. Hopefully not so far away. We'll see. We're both busy, but we'll try to get on to talk about micro macro evolution. That'd be great. And until then, everyone, please like, share, subscribe, comment. If you have any questions for Mauro, go ahead and put it in the comment section. Yeah, check out the YouTube channel and join us for whenever we have about Catholicism and science. Until then, Mauro, God bless you. Everyone else, God bless you. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.